Hello, folks. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. We've got some breaking news. A U.S. federal magistrate judge, that being Bruce Reinhart, he told government lawyers and lawyers from the media organizations that he will not leave the entire affidavit for the Mar-a-Lago search warrant under seal. Won't leave it alone. Judge Reinhart also ordered some of the documents connected to the search warrant to be unsealed later today. If we get that report, we will come right back with it to you. This would include, by the way, the application for the warrant, the motion to seal, and the cover sheet. Again, we will await further from the judge if it comes this afternoon. Judge Reinhart said the entire affidavit should not be kept under seal and gave the government 1 week to submit proposed redactions under seal. 1 week. The deadline for the government to submit those is August 25th at noon. I believe that's a week from today. Joining me now for much more on this somewhat complex topic is our great friend, Andrew McCarthy, former assistant U.S. attorney, National Review contributing editor, and Fox News contributor. Andy, thank you for helping us on short notice. I don't understand any of this, and you do. My first question is just simply, is this a victory or an important first step towards greater transparency regarding the search warrant and the break-in and all the rest of it?
Larry, at best, it's a first step, because what's going to happen is nothing is going to happen for a week, except perhaps the Justice Department going to the magistrate judge and trying to convince him to reconsider. They will propose next week something that's very heavily redacted. There'll probably be some haggling between the government lawyers and the magistrate judge about redactions. There's an awful lot that's in an affidavit for a search warrant that's just legalese and really won't be very enlightening for people, just like those other documents that you just referred to, you know, the application and the sealing order and that sort of stuff. Seeing that is not going to tell people what they really want to know, which was, you know, number one, what was the evidentiary basis for this warrant, and why do it by warrant? Why do it now? Why wouldn't other methods work? That's what people really want to know. I don't know how much of that they'll get. And if the government is not happy with where the magistrate judge comes out, they can appeal. So it may be a while before we see anything.
But, Andy, as I understand it, the Justice Department didn't want to give up anything. Zero. So as I didn't listen. I read what Reinhart said. They're going to have to give up something. Now, whether that something is significant as you're posing those issues, I get that. But this was not a win for the Justice Department, was it?
Oh, no, Larry, you're quite right about that. This is an important loss for the Justice Department for reasons I think that we're not even fully aware of at the moment. For example, it becomes very difficult to get people to cooperate if you have a high-profile situation where in the middle, what they say at least, is the middle of a pending investigation, the possibility that people who may have been informants for the government may be revealed comes to the fore. That's going to make people very reluctant to cooperate with the government. And the second thing is, in some cases, you don't know if you have a strong enough case to indict people until you do a search or two and can look at that evidence haul, compare it to other stuff that you already have, and decide whether you have an indictable case or not. The government's going to be very reluctant to do a search in the middle of an investigation if now the rule of the road is going to be that information that they go to the court to get the warrant on may become public. So it's a problem for them.
Yeah, I mean, the Wall Street Journal editorial on the matter this morning, I think, put it rather well. The Justice Department wants to keep the affidavit secret, lest its release compromises the criminal investigation. But then they say, but that's what Justice and FBI always say. All right, so that's no surprise. But Reinhart's saying a little something different. How this turns out, I understand the uncertainties you're walking through. But the Justice Department at least did not, the magistrate, Reinhart, down in Florida, he's a federal magistrate, he did not sign on to the stonewalling of the Justice Department and the FBI. So that's the only thing I'm suggesting.
Yeah, no, that's right, Larry, and I'd go a step further than that. You know, last week, Attorney General Garland, in a very unusual move, spoke publicly about the case. Now, he didn't say a lot, but the Justice Department doesn't speak during investigations. So it puts the prosecutors in a tough spot if they're arguing to the judge that we have to keep everything under wraps if the Attorney General is out talking about the case. And the second thing is, what the government notoriously does is they selectively leak what you would like to hear, or what they would like you to hear, rather, their sort of spin on things. And that could be offensive to the court. The court may just decide that, if they're going to play that game, we might as well get everything out there rather than just a trial by selective leak.
Well, that's the disgusting part of this, in my view. That's the disgusting part of what the Justice Department and or the FBI is doing. These leaks, selective leaks, including this nuclear secrets leak, which I find extremely hard to believe. Again, I could be wrong because I don't know all the facts, but I just find, this is a war by leaks. And after all, Andy McCarthy, go back, all of Donald Trump's public political life, going back to 2015 when he first announced for president, and the campaign in 16, and his 4-year presidency, was plagued by phony charges, right? What he called hoaxes, and I rather think he was right. And all kinds of leaks from the CIA, leaks from the Director of National Intelligence, leaks from the Justice Department, leaks from the FISA court, So there's that. And this judge, Reinhardt, could kind of put an end to that. I don't even know how it's going to work. I don't know what's in these papers, if anything is important or not. I have no idea. But transparency might just, lower the temperature in this country, calm the waters in this country, Andy McCarthy. You see where I'm going? And this is my own non-legal way of expressing it.
Look, Larry, I agree that you might get better behavior out of the Justice Department and the FBI if they understand that if they're going to play the game of leaking, this is what the comeuppance is going to be. As you just pointed out, this is not on a clean slate. We heard for a year, wait till you see the FISA affidavit. If it ever becomes public, it's going to be an overwhelming case that Trump was cooperating or had this relationship with Putin. And then after a lot of agitation, we finally got to see the FISA warrant after they tell us, no, you can't see it. It's all classified. The sky will fall if we show it to you. It turned out it was nonsense, and they had used, basically third and fourth hand rumor and innuendo that we now know was supplied by the Clinton campaign. Yeah. So, what goes around comes around.
So a week from today, we might know something more, maybe.
I wouldn't hold my breath, but within a couple of weeks.
Okay. Andy McCarthy, thank you ever so much. Really appreciate your time.